This is the middle. There is a beginning, a middle, and an end. Together, I'll tell you the story of the machine and how the world will end. I spent the next couple months living with Griffin. In that time, he spent almost every day explaining to me how the machine worked. It was very complex, but I finally understood. I will not be explaining to you how it operates, and I hope you'll forgive me for that, and hope you understand why I refuse to share that knowledge. After learning all there was to learn about it, I posed a question to him. "Do you think you could make another?" I asked him. "Sure, it'd take me a couple weeks, but..." "No. I mean, do you think we can create another machine using this machine?" He cocked his head back. Wow, I can't believe I hadn't thought of that. So we worked for a few days, programming every detail of the machine into the original machine, and by day 5, the code was complete and ready to go. I pressed enter, and there it appeared, a second machine, right next to its partner, its creator, its father, its God. Yet, they were equal. "Now we each have one, I guess," he said. "Thank you," I told him. "Thank me. It was your idea." "No, not for the machine. For letting me know. For teaching me about it. You're my closest, really my only, friend. I didn't want to go about this alone." He put his hand on my shoulder. "So what's the actual plan? What are we going to do with these? Where do we start?" I asked. "I'm not sure. Do we tell anyone?" "Hell no. Like I said before, this is a secret between you, me, and God." "Okay, but think about it. Think about all the things we've talked about doing the past couple months. Cleaning the air, deleting all plastic from the ocean, feeding the hungry, and traveling to Mars and beyond. Those are things that we can't do unnoticed. It's going to get out." He let that rattle around his head before he replied. "That's just talk, though. You know how dangerous this is? I know we've been beating around the bush and not talking about that aspect of this. This can't be public knowledge. This goes beyond danger. If this technology falls into the wrong hands, it's over." "Are you saying we don't do anything?" I grunted. "So what do we do? Sit here with a thumb in our ass, looking at the greatest invention of human history and never use it for good? Is that what you're saying?" "I don't know what I'm saying." There was a long silence before he spoke again. I don't know. We can't not do anything with it. You're right." "You've known about this much longer than I have. What have you been thinking about? What's the end game in this?" "Honestly?" he asked. "Honestly, tell me all your thoughts," I said. "Well, okay then, I'll tell you. My entire thought process, the good, the bad, and the horrific. I've thought about all the good stuff like you have. Helping the hungry, the poor, all that. But to tell you the truth, I'm afraid of that too." "Why?" "Let's say we feed and shelter every human. Let's add to that too, why not? Let's give out free generators to every home and building in the world, like our houses have. And once a day the batteries are replaced with new ones. So we have free food and water, free shelter, and free energy." "Okay. Well, then no one will want to work anymore. Why should they? What do they need money for? All their basic needs will have been met. That's millions, if not billions of people quitting their jobs because they don't need to work." That kind of sounds nice, actually. Everyone would be relaxed. Sure, at first. But you know who else stops working? EMTs, police officers, firemen. Those people that work long hours and save lives every day no longer have a reason to go in. Doctors who study for years and step into six-figure debt willingly, they won't want to practice medicine anymore. And school? Why go? What's making anyone want to go? On top of that, who would teach? There'll be a billion dummies by the next decade who don't know how to read or write. So if we give it to the public, we're screwed. The whole world is screwed. I hadn't considered any of this. I was stunned. And he wasn't done talking. I've also thought about using it for other things, though. Let's say we keep this private. What would we do with it? We could use it for other purposes. My eyes had widened. I knew what he meant, but I still asked. Like what? Any way we like. Let's go right to the extremes, shall we? Imagine a politician live on TV making some big announcement to the nation. I nodded. And all of a sudden, he drops dead. All we had to do was shift his brainstem an inch to the left, or, let's get even more graphic. We just delete the fucker's head right on national television. A clean cut, right across the neck. We delete every atom in his head and boom, gone, dead. No one knows why. Or we delete his entire brain. The autopsy comes back and no one knows what to make of it. Biggest news story of this century. We could create a new genocide. We could create a new virus every day and spread it worldwide. We could create a fucking asteroid and send it straight into Earth. I couldn't believe the things he was saying now. Things I didn't know a regular person could think. He kept on. His face was reddening, and eyes were bulging. Or, let's think even bigger. We could change the entire atmosphere on Mars, make it just like Earth's, nice and stable. Then, we teleport ourselves and the machines there. We can bring a couple ladies and start a whole new town. A whole new planet. And we can look to the pale blue dot in the sky that we once called home. Look at everything we knew, everything we loved, every ounce of human history, and burn the bitch to the ground. And when the fire goes out, we delete it like it never existed in the first place. My mouth was slightly open from shock. I was at a loss for words, yes, but found my footing and spoke. But you don't actually want to do those things, right? He panted a little. He was out of breath. His face slowly came back to its original color. No. God, no. I wouldn't do any of that. But you asked what I've been thinking about, and you asked me to be honest. Yeah, I guess. I thought about some of that too. Maybe not quite as detailed, I guess. You asked for honesty, and whether you like it or not, the human brain has its dark places. I'd never act on it. They're just thoughts, and I was sharing them. I know, Griff. I know. Just thoughts. Just thoughts, I suppose. Yeah, like gunning down a bunch of high schoolers or flying a plane into a building. Those are just intrusive thoughts that people have sometimes. Maybe a lot of people. But it only takes one person crazy enough to act on those thoughts. So, we can't take it public, and we aren't going to be killing anyone or destroying the planet. What do we do? He shrugged. We have fun, I guess. We did have fun. For a while. We lived in nice houses we designed ourselves. We drove nice cars we created. Not as hard as it sounds, surprisingly. We drank and ate in excess, and we never paid for any of it. When we wanted to go out to bars, clubs, or restaurants and pay for things, that wasn't a problem either. Once we figured out how to create a legitimate $100 bills, we could pay for anything. No one would ever be able to tell the difference, because there wasn't a single atom out of place. Then, Griff found heroin. I do not want this to become a story of addiction. No, a story of addiction would be about a man struggling to survive, battling out his demons, losing money, and finding a balance between substance and family. No, once Griffin found heroin, nothing else existed for him. Heroin and the machine was all he needed. He never had to pay for it either. When he wanted a fix, he simply typed the command in the machine, and there it was, ready, in a nice clean needle, waiting to be stuck in his vein. He never left the house after that. Why would he? He needed nothing outside his bedroom, as long as the machine was there. That was one possibility we didn't even consider. Something so simple that we both overlooked. I would do anything to go back to that day we were camping and make an oath that we'd never touch any drugs again. What a mistake. Griffin died of an overdose on December 24th, 2018. I found him the next day. He never got to open his present. How? How could a man with all this power in the universe, more power than any man had held before, fall so feebly to something so plain? He was a god, walking among men, and was taken down by an ounce of liquid in a syringe. He had an endless path of wonder and possibilities in front of him, and he chose not to go. He chose to stand still. I chose not to stand still. I was about to get busy, very busy. I was alone, me and my two machines. The universe was my playground. Griffin was gone, but his knowledge was not. I had that. Yes, I had that. A secret between me and God, and no one else.